Hello, good afternoon everybody. I'm going to be posting 2 videos today, so this is going to be my vlog just because I didn't post one yesterday, really because there was nothing really for me to talk about in the video. But today I figured I would talk to you guys about the reason why I quit my jobs. And I feel like, I put it off for a couple months now, so I figured I would tell you guys. I'm not going to be mentioning any names, just to keep, the people I worked with, their life in private. So, I'm sorry if, my stories are going to be, confusing just because I'm not going to bring up, any names, but, yeah. So right after I got out of college, this was May 2015, I had never had any job experience before, and the only thing that I could rely on for me to have job experience was my restaurant class that I was involved in when I was in college. It was a full running restaurant. We had to put in we worked 8 hours, I want to say every other day. I don't know, maybe it was every day. I'm pretty sure it was every day, because I would have restaurant class from 8 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I would have the rest of my classes afterwards. So, and like I said, it was a full running restaurant, people paid to eat there, and yeah, so that was the only job experience that I personally had. So, I was a little nervous, not gonna be able to find a job. So, the first job I applied to was a Pizza Hut just because my father works for one, so I figured, if I applied to one here where I currently live, I could use him as a reference and his other employees as a reference. So I applied to a Pizza Hut and I get a call for an interview, and I was 19 at the time. And the interview went great. The guy was honestly really surprised I knew how much I knew, and I think I applied for a waitress position. So after the interview went fantastic. So the guy was like, okay, just give me 3 to 4 days, and I'll get a hold of you, and we can get you started. So I was like, okay. So 3 days went by and I didn't get a phone call. So on the 4th day I called and he just so happened to answer the phone. I was like, hi, this is Stephanie, I just had the interview a couple days ago. I just wanted to know if I had gotten the position or not. And he's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't hire anybody who doesn't have any job experience. And I was like, okay. So in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking, how am I supposed to get a job without job experience, So that just made me really, really mad. And I remember I went off on a Twitter rant about it, and so many people agreed with me, and I think I even rant about it on my Facebook, and to this day it still bugs me, and I don't really know why. So that was June when I had that interview, and I also had an interview at the Marriott hotels for an internship, but the thing is, the internship wasn't going to be paid, and I need something that was going to be paid. So one of the times I was walking around the mall with me and my husband, and I just went and got like a crap ton of job applications, and I got one from Bath and Body Works, the one that's at my mall, and literally, I want to say it was like a week, like it was fast, like a week after I had returned my application, I got a phone call for a group interview. So, the group interview went really well. Like, all three of us got the job right on the spot, so they were definitely looking for people. And yeah, so that's how I got the job at Bath and Body Works. So, literally, like, the head boss that was there, she was, like, amazing. I'm just gonna call her, Kimmy, because I'm not gonna disclose, like, her real name. So, Kimmy, like, she was literally, like, one of the best bosses ever. Like, say if you were processing shipment, like, she'd be right there processing shipment with you. Like, whatever, like, like, she was just, like, kind of like that boss was, like, like, there's no levels, kind of like, oh, I'm the boss, so I can just, goof off in the back room, or, like, no, like, she was right there doing the work with you. So I really, really loved her as a boss. And she honestly, like, trained me really, really well. Like, she made me, get to know the products, know what's inside, what makes the lotion what it is, and, like, the effects of it, and, like, everything. So that way, like, it was gonna be that much easier for me to get to know the products. And honestly, that's how I became the first sales lead. I became the sales lead, I want to say right before holiday time. So it was like, I want to say like October, November. So there's that, and I honestly worked so hard in, like, helping out other customers, figuring out, like, what they need, and I really tried to connect with the customers. And I'm honestly glad, that, what did I call her? Oh, Kimmy. Really, got me to see, like, the full aspect of the job. Now, if I go in the store now, just because it's a completely different team, like, it's really sad because, like, they don't know the products, like, at all, and it's, like, really, like, hurtful. Like, I mean, we still got pamphlets on, like, like, if we ever got, like, mind blanked, if we forgot, like, what was in the product, or what was in, like, what fragrance was in the product, we still had a pamphlet, and it just seems like, even though, like, they still get the pamphlets, like, they're not taking the time to really get to know each product, and, like, that really, like, hurts. I mean, especially coming from, like, a former employee. So, so there's that. Okay, so we're going to past holiday time. So me and another girl, both of us were sales leads. I'm gonna call her, I'm trying to think of, like, a really good one. So I'm just going to call her, okay, so I think I'm gonna call her Olive. So, Olive and I, we were the two sales leads in the store. So, as a sales lead, you are supposed to be getting between 20 and 30 hours a week, if not more. The same amount of hours as the managers as well. So, right before holiday time began, Kimmy, our amazing boss, she had retired. So we had received another manager who managed her own store in a couple towns past mine, and so she took this job opportunity because it would be closer to where she lived. So I'm going to call her Chrissy. So Chrissy, she was a really young boss, and from all of us at the store, that we were used to how Kimmy did stuff, like our original boss. You know, Chrissy tried changing some things, and it was just like really awkward, because like once we're in our ways, like this is how like we were taught, like we're like trying to change like something like how we were taught, was extremely hard. And I remember one time she yelled at one of the employees because they were doing shipment, and she like yelled at them because they were processing shipment when there were customers in the store, and it was just like, well, when else are we supposed to process this shipment? Because like we can't just have it sitting out back, because we got since it was holiday time, like we literally got shipment like 2 to 3 times a week. So there's that. But as a person, I really liked Chrissy. But as a boss perspective, I didn't. So after holiday time, I feel like I'm saying a lot. So see, there we go again. So shortly after holiday time, like I shortly became like dumbfounded, if that makes sense. I was a sales lead. I was supposed to be getting, between 20 and 30 hours. So literally week by week after holiday had happened, I noticed that my hours were diminishing week by week by week. So one of the floor sets that was right after the semi-annual sale to put out the newer store products, I had talked to one of the manager's friends who also came and helped along with the floor sets. And I was physically telling her that, like I was not happy, like, like I have bills to pay, I have student loans I have to pay on, and, if my hours are gonna keep getting like diminished, like I don't think I could stay here. As much as I loved my team, as much as I loved the customers and like, helping the customer aspect, like it just, I don't think I could do it. So basically she told me that if I needed a job, she'd give me one right then and there. She managed a cookie store. And I had also told her that I went to school for hotel, restaurant, and resort management. So I had management schooling, under my belt, as like that's what I went to school for. So that week, right after the floor set, we typically had floor sets on Sundays. So that week, so this is probably like middle of February at this point, I called, I'm just gonna call the manager at the cookie store Becky. So I called Becky and I told her that I was interested in a job if she had one opened, and she told me to come up to the store and just grab a job application, you know, just so she could have one in hand, and I would have a job interview on February 26th, which, believe it or not, I also had to work at Bath and Body Works that day, and it was also mine and my husband's wedding anniversary. So I told her that I was going to feel really bad just because I was going to be showing up, you know, in my Bath and Body Works work uniform, which was a white t-shirt, jeans, and at the time I always wore my Uggs. So, but I still had on my North Face, and I still had, like, you know, I still looked presentable. So the interview with Becky went really well. And I managed to get the job right on the spot. Like I said, I knew I was going to get the job anyways, because she told me that if I needed a job, I could come and find her. So, I had worked at the cookie store and at Bath and Body Works until, I want to say, beginning of March. So there was a good like 2 weeks I was working both jobs, and it was like kind of hard for me just because of scheduling purposes. Chrissy, the manager at Bath and Body Works, like, she would have the schedules done, I want to say every Monday. I think that's when our schedules came out. And then Becky, the one at the cookie store, she would have our schedules when we would receive our checks, which was Thursdays or Fridays, depending on which day she could bring them in. So it was kind of hard, like, scheduling wise. So Becky, the manager at the cookie store, she had told me, since I had the manager experience from school, that you know, she was looking for a shift leader / store manager. And I was like, okay, in order for me to take that position, I would have to be at the cookie store full time. So I had put a little thought into it, and I realized that, you know, maybe if I get this position, you know, maybe it's a foot in the door, you know, and I could start my managerial experience. So I took the job offer, and I was literally at the cookie store for 2 weeks. And, you know, to be at a job for 2 weeks and then start training as a manager is just, it literally like blew my mind. And I really feel like at the time, like, a lot of the fellow employees there, like, they were like extremely mad, you know. But I mean, for me, I was happy because I was only there for 2 weeks, and then she offered me a manager's position. So I had to have been doing something right. So I put in my 2 weeks at Bath and Body Works, but I didn't really put in my 2 weeks just because I was still an employee there. But the only time I would be scheduled is if they really needed somebody to cover a shift and to help with floor sets. So, yeah, so I started training for the shift leader position at Great American Cookies. That was the cookie store I worked at. If you guys couldn't tell, I wore a lot of my work shirts in my videos. But you know, I was honestly like astonished because in just a month and a half, you know, I became a shift leader slash manager, and I was just like dumbfounded. So yeah, so that's how I ended up getting the job and quitting my job at Bath and Body Works. So reason being I quit at Bath and Body Works just because like my hours were being garnished. Okay, so why I quit Great American Cookies. So I quit Great American Cookies because the year, okay, so I was the shift leader officially April 2016. So from there until summer, so I'm going to say about June 2016, it was all good, you know. And then my boss, Becky, she was telling us, you know, like her wedding is going to be in September, you know, like basically me and another girl who also became a shift leader. I'm going to call her Sarah. So me and Sarah were, and actually there was another girl, so there's 3 shift leaders. So there was me, Sarah, and I'm gonna call the other one Sierra. Okay, so there's me, Sarah, and Sierra. We were all shift leaders, and we were all going to be running the store while Becky, our boss, was going to be away. You know, like she was still going to be at the store, but, you know, like she was also worrying about her wedding. So all 3 of us, we were running the store the whole entire summer and pretty much the whole time up until our boss's wedding. So with that being said, we literally were there day in and day out. And I can count how many countless times I literally did double shifts. I also was literally there. Like she gave me 80% of the morning shifts. So I was there from 8 o'clock in the morning to, you know, 4 or 5 o'clock at night. And this was every day. And then, you know, I would also, with also opening all week, and then Fridays, I would somehow always get stuck closing on Friday and then have to open on Saturday. So that in right there, like, really, really sucked for me. You know, because it was literally like a back-to-back shift. Like, it really sucked. So that's how my summer went. So the 3 of us, we handled the store really well. You know, I would say like our team at the time, we were, you know, we worked as a team, you know, we got through it. So then came holiday time. So this is holiday 2016. We then later found out that our boss Becky was pregnant. And pretty much it just went completely downhill from there. So the day that she announced that she was pregnant, you know, we threw her a baby shower, you know, we got her gifts, like we literally did everything we could for the store. And it just seemed like the days that like she was able to show up to the store, you know, it was like, oh, this wasn't done, or this wasn't done, or this needs to be done. And it was just like, it was insane because like she was barely ever at the store, and she was leaving, you know, me and 2 other shift leaders you know, to run the store, and we literally did the best we could. So that was like really frustrating, and I honestly, I didn't take what she said like to heart. So, you know, just because I knew that, you know, she was pregnant, she had raging hormones, and, you know, there's just like other things. So, so that summer, so summer 2017, like, I really just got to the point where, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, I really just didn't care. You know, I said things I probably shouldn't have. You know, I did things that I know I shouldn't have, but I did it anyway. And, you know, like, I was just so angry, and it was just like, to be treated, you know, like, I mean, I honestly felt like, you know, for me personally, to get treated like I wasn't doing anything for the store, you know, it was kind of annoying, you know. So, yeah. So, I had quit July 27th, I do believe, was the day I turned in everything. I was supposed to show up for a closing shift, but I went in and turned in my stuff that morning. But I was pretty sure I was gonna get fired anyways, just because I showed up with blue hair. So, yeah. So, basically, I quit Great American Cookies was because of, you know, my boss and the stipulations. I honestly felt like I put way more work into that job, and, you know, like, you know, I feel like I should have gotten a lot more out of that job. And, you know, it's just like, I worked so hard, and even when I was decorating cakes, like, I had people requesting me to decorate cakes, and I'll have like pictures, you know, like over here so you guys can see. But yeah, I literally had people requesting me to make their cakes, you know. So I figured, you know, I'm definitely bringing in money, you know, for my boss. So, I don't know, I just felt like I personally was doing way more work, and it was really frustrating as a job. And even coming home, you know, from my job, like, I would be crying because I would be like so frustrated from my job, you know. So it was just a lot to handle, and it was just a lot of stress, even to the point, like I said, I was coming home crying. I was also stress eating a lot, and yeah, it was not a good environment for me at all, and I'm really glad that I did quit when I did. So yeah, so that was my little vlog post. I'm also going to be posting a video on what's on my phone, because I don't have an iPhone anymore, but I'm currently recording on my iPad, just because I like the editing stuff on Apple a lot more. But I had to switch to Samsung just because it was going to be saving me and my husband money for right now, just because we got some news coming up, but I'm not going to share it with you guys until it happens. Literally the day that it happens, I'm going to share it with you guys. I'm going to post it all over YouTube, and yeah. So I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah.